Good morning. Today's video is going to be about mental health in dancers. I love talking about mental health. I love talking about dancers, so we're just going to combine them. I guess this also could be just mindset of approaching class, mindset of approaching dance in general, and being kind to yourself. I'm a hip-hop dancer from Orange County. I also have my own battles and struggles with mental health. This is a huge topic to me just because it's so personal in my life and my story. The first thing I wanted to touch on is how mental health affects dancing. So for me personally, how it affects it is when I'm in class, I tend to compare myself to other dancers. When I'm outside of class, I'm still comparing myself to other dancers. I think with social media now too, it is a good thing for me to watch other people dance, but only if I use it in a way that's going to help me grow as a dancer and not shame myself or belittle my talents by watching other people. There's the whole anxiety side of just so much anxiety taking class, so much anxiety dancing and posting your dance videos. Anxiety, which is your overall dance career if you're pursuing it professionally. Am I going to be able to make this as a career? I don't have any jobs right now. Will I get jobs later? Will I book later? What if an injury happens? And like, the list could go on. And then there's more of the depressive side, which for me is, I know when I'm getting really, really depressed when I don't want to dance. When I'm depressed, I just don't dance in general. That's just a little bit about it, so we're just gonna talk, I think, on that today. The first one, comparison. I feel like it's almost impossible not to compare yourself to the dancers, because I can't be like, Sydney, don't compare yourself, because like that's just a thing, you know? It's to the point where when your mental health prevents you from growing or like doing the things you want to do, that is really bad. I'm not going to go to this dance class because everyone there is good and I'm not good, so I'm not going to go. And like, that is just like, it's not even true. It's not even true. It's something that's like completely affecting my growth as a dancer, but it's something I can't really stop doing. There's a lot of dancers I compare myself to. Just dancers who I think have been training in the studio a lot longer than I have and who have more success in their career and who are just talented in different styles of dance. I think there's this thing of, oh gosh, I saw this girl's TikTok once and it was of her like documenting. It was of her filming videos of her trying to get selected for dance class, like selected to dance in front of the camera. And I came across her page and her videos a few times. And for like me, like that would be me in the classroom, is like when I'm not selected, I would compare myself to everyone who was and just then kind of throw myself down and say that I'm not talented, that I'm not as good as a dancer, when in reality, the thing is I can never know, and I can't create some sort of answer in my head to know. And that's what I do, I think, when I compare myself to that, is I just make the assumption of, oh, I'm not selected to dance this because I'm not good, when that's not necessarily true. Comparing yourself to dancers online, I'm guilty of this because I spent a lot of my time watching dancers online, I think I was constantly comparing, but I had to shift my mindset from comparing of they're good and I'm not to what do I like that they do, what do I don't like that they do, and try and imitate the things that I like, apply it to me, apply it to my body, apply it to my style to help me grow as a dancer. I think people are always going to look at others and wish that they want what they had. I think that's just something that people do. Even if you then gain that thing that you used to wish for, you're always looking at someone else thinking, well, I want this, like I wish I had this and stuff like that. And it's just this it's just this endless cycle. And that's what's so hard about comparison, is it's not just even in dance too, it's like comparison of my body and the way my body looks or the way my body moves, comparison of the way I look, comparison of the amount of followers people have on social media in comparison to mine. So it's like, it can go so many different ways, but I'm just specifically talking about dance. Another thing that's extremely huge for me is anxiety. I did not struggle with anxiety until 2 years ago is when I really got bad, and then it's just been like, woo. It's been getting better, but it's been like, I get so nervous to go to class. Like, especially if it's like with the studio that I love or a teacher that I've been watching since I was like itty bitty and I look up to so much. It's like, I just forget that they're humans. But before class, my palms get so sweaty. I'm like shaking in the car, and I'm like, it's class. Why am I so anxious? Again, it might be leading or connecting with the comparison of like, I'm gonna go in there and like, what if I mess up? What if I'm not good? What if other people are better than me? What if I make a fool out of myself? Never really had anxiety so strong until 2 years ago. I get anxiety, which is posting my dance videos. I get in my head and just, again, this is like getting in my head, making assumptions about other people sort of thing of when I post, no one's gonna want to see my dance videos. Everyone's annoyed with seeing my dance videos. People are gonna see that I've gotten worse. People are gonna see I've gotten fat, etc. And just creating this whole narrative. And I'm like, why? And crazy thing is, like, when I do that to myself, I prevent myself from posting my dance videos. I prevent myself from maybe meeting new people in the studio. I prevent myself from growing in class. I prevent myself from enjoying the process, all just with my mental health. When it comes to being selected to dance, oh my gosh, it's like nerves and anxiety all together, to the point how it affects me is I will blank on choreo. And there was a time where I went to, I think, it was like 3 to 5 classes, not in the same day, but like in the close time frame of like a week or 2 weeks. And every single time I was selected to dance on camera, I would blank. I was like, okay. And that happened with me with choreographers who I love and I've been watching and are challenging to me for a long time. Choreographers who were teaching beginner classes, choreographers who I knew and were comfortable with and have danced in front of several times. And I filmed in their class several times. And then also just me by myself outside filming with my phone. And so I began to realize, like, okay, so this is like a greater issue. It's not just this person's class. It's not just at this studio. It's what happens to me as soon as I know that I'm being filmed. And it's crazy because I could do it on the side. Right after I film it, like finished and like completely messed up, I'd walk off and I'd do the combo and I'd be like, why couldn't I just do that? That may have been knowing that this is being filmed, but I think my mind goes, oh my gosh, like, I'm selected. I have to prove myself to be good. Oh my gosh, if I mess up, I'm gonna look like a fool. It's like, what? My mind just goes. That is how anxiety has been affecting me as a dancer. Depression. So depression hasn't been affecting me as much. With depression, I'm able to identify it a little bit easier. When I know I don't want to dance, it's like, at the same time, I'm becoming more depressed. Like, going into my little depressive episode. Where it gets tough for me is when I'm like full knee deep in my depression episode and getting myself out of that. Sometimes what helps me when I'm like sad, when I'm frustrated, maybe not even in my like full depressive episode, but just struggling emotionally, is forcing myself to go to class. It doesn't have to be like a advanced class, it doesn't have to be like in LA, it can be in Orange County, just a class that is not by myself. Because if I'm by myself, I'm so tempted to not dance, so tempted to give up on it, so tempted to leave, especially if I'm not in a good mindset mentally. I force myself to go to class, and in hopes that this kind of like, I'm gonna use this analogy, it's kind of weird, but jump starting a car. Like, you know, how it like sparks me, gets me like reminded or gets me rolling. When I go take a dance class, when I'm not mentally feeling the best, it reminds me of the joy and the things that I love to do. It reminds me of the feeling that I have when I dance, why I like dancing. And sometimes it really does work. And then I'm like, okay, I want to get back into dancing. And I get back to dancing and I'm like, I feel a lot better. Other times it's like, no. And what is really hard for me, I think the most, is leaving my depression at the door when I enter the dance studio. There's been times where I've been like struggling mentally, and I bring that into the studio, and I have to say that is probably one of the worst feelings that I've experienced with my mental health in dance. Being in class and mentally just being in a fog. Dance my whole life has been something that I can go to, and I can detach what is going on externally, what's going on in life, and leave it at the door and still have a good time in a dance studio and feel better, feel okay, realize that I'm okay, and then go back to approaching the issues and battles in my life. Sometimes with depression, that is the only time where it has carried in. So like if like financial struggles were going on in my life or just family stuff, like I would go to dance and leave that at the door, like no problem. But with depression, a few times I have brought it into class and it has been the worst. What I mean by that is I'm in my head literally the entire time, and then I feel worse afterward. I don't pick up the choreography. In fact, I can't even remember like an 8 count. I'm not having fun. I'm isolating myself. On top of that, because dance is what I love and dance is what I do, and I'm not picking up, I then beat myself up, and I'm literally like even harder and even more mean to myself when I bring depression into the studio. Why aren't you picking up? Why aren't you doing this? See, you're not a good dancer. You should just leave, etc. So when I bring depression into the studio and I am struggling and I don't leave it at the door, it almost cycles back and feeds my depression. So when I'm depressed and I go take a dance class, I have to leave it at the door. If I know I can't, then going into the dance studio is not going to help me. In fact, it'll just make me feel worse. Knowing my mental health and knowing how I am at that time, at that day, in that episode, how I'm feeling, is a dance class a smart move? And I honestly, through this whole thing, whether it's through comparison, anxiety, and depression, I honestly just have to be completely honest with myself. Checking in with myself. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Why am I comparing myself to other people? Why am I so anxious right now? Breathe. The teachers are humans. The other dancers are also humans. You're okay. You're in a safe space, and I just have to tell myself that. And then with the depression, I have to be honest with myself. If you go to dance class today, Sydney, are you going to leave it at the door, or are you going to bring it in with you? If you're going to bring it in with you, don't sign up for class. If you're going to leave it at the door, let's do it. Let's go. What I really have to do is really jumpstart my brain, like literally like a car. Jumpstart my brain, remind myself what's good about me, remind myself the beauty of life, remind myself what I love to do, remind myself why I love to do it, and remind myself why life is worth living and why I should push myself to feel happier, and I deserve to feel happier than during my depressive episodes. Dance has always been therapy for me. Like I said, with life, when things are going on, I go to dance. When you're putting yourself in a vulnerable spot every single day, like going to dance class, maybe going to an audition, you are really just being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be judged in some way. But it's knowing your worth, knowing who you are, and sticking to your ground, and knowing that as long as you care for yourself and as long as you're taking care of yourself and as long as you feel confident in yourself, you'll be okay. Recently did an audition, and afterward, one of the casting directors just basically was like, thank you to everyone who came in, because you came in today, you know, ready to learn choreography, and danced in front of so many people with the mindset of, here I am, like, judge me, judge my dancing, and know that walking away from this, I'm still gonna be okay. And that's kind of what dance auditions and stuff is, you know. It's you go in and you put yourself out there, you're putting yourself out there. And so when you're constantly doing a field where you're putting yourself out there, mental health battles are like some of the hardest things. Sometimes the battles are external with life, but for me at least, a lot of my battles are internal. Sometimes I'll go through the phase of like, I'm not a talented dancer, and allowing that to prevent me from going to a class I really want to go to, or posting a dance video about me. And then I step away from the thing that I'm gifted in, and step away from the thing that I love, and step away from the thing that makes me happy. That's kind of a little bit of mental health and me and mental health in dancers. If you're a dancer battling with mental health issues, I just would like to say you're doing a good job. Keep going. And as you begin to realize what areas that you're struggling with and how mental health is affecting you, be kind to yourself through the process and really, really dig deep to remind yourself who you are, how beautiful you are, how talented you are. Be proud of yourself for you constantly making the choice to put yourself out there. As you go through watching yourself and finding things that you want to work on, also be kind to yourself and find things that you are doing well. It is important for us to believe in ourselves and love ourselves, and it's hard to do that if we're constantly beating ourselves down and then trying to pursue a career that is entertainment for others. You got this. You're gonna be okay. It's going to all work out. So that is it for this video. Thank you for watching and hearing a little bit of my story of mental health and my dance journey and just my life. I will see you guys next time. Bye.